The entire 3.x update cycle for Honkai Star Rail has been really good. The music has been top tier, the characters released all have great designs with unique playstyles, and the story has been really solid. With all these brighter and newer themes and everything looking up for the game, it should feel like the game is blazing on all fronts, but yet I feel like the game just isn't as exciting as before. With every new story and every new character released, I just feel more and more indifferent about them and less motivated to play. So for today, let's talk about Honkai Star Rail and the current state of the game. As a forewarning, a lot of what will be mentioned will be from my own opinion. I am not trying and I will not claim everything as a fact, but personal experience is important when analyzing how I feel about the game, so I will be drawing a lot of opinions from there. And I will ask people not to take the opinions I have personally and to be civil in the comments. I feel like I don't need to say that, but you never know with gacha communities, so you all have been warned. With the story, I'll be honest, I'm not caught up on it. I'm not even close. Like, I don't think I've finished the story from Finon's update, so regarding the quality of story writing, I'm not the best judge here, and truthfully, I'm not typically someone that has an issue with the story writing anyway. While some people felt like Penaconi's story was whack, I loved Penaconi's story, and literally couldn't wait to play each new Trailblaze quest once it came out, and while Amphoris's story isn't my favorite, I still think it's been good and that the overall quality has gone up. But despite me thinking these positive things about the story, I'm still a multitude of updates behind. So why is that? Honestly, I think it's the pacing that's the issue. The stories in Amphoris have gotten substantially longer, and this seems to be due to a few main things. The padding out of time with puzzles, story topics getting drawn out, and the removal of individual character story quests just to have them be shoved into the newest Trailblaze quests. All of these things have led to the new Amphoris quests feeling like they have doubled in time to complete compared to Penacony. Nowadays, instead of feeling excited and happy to experience a new Star Rail quest, I honestly feel dread, because the amount of time I have to invest just to experience the story feels huge, and truthfully, it doesn't feel worth it. I could say that people are busy and having a super long story every update makes it a burden on the consumer, and while that's partially true, I think the bigger issue is that having a longer story makes it harder to keep the player engaged, interested, and invested throughout the story, and furthermore in the game. I'm someone that typically doesn't play turn-based games. They're just not really my vibe, but Star Rail out of all of them has had me invested since the start, putting in lots of my time and even my money because I really like the game. And I'd say a big part of me enjoying the game is due to liking the story a lot. But recently it just feels like experiencing the story is harder and more difficult than before. Like, instead of being able to freely experience the story in its entirety, I feel like the player has to hardcore analyze everything and literally jot things down in order to fully remember things that happened earlier in the same update. Amphoris overall is a good story, and I'd say writing wise it's probably better than Penacony, but it feels like a lot of the hype and big moments are all hidden behind a wall of fluff, whether it be required puzzles that are literally only there to pad out time, or literally conversations being dragged on for long bits of time too, like meanwhile in Okema, or at the same time black screen, white font type of stuff. It just feels like I have to drag myself through mud in order to just experience the story, and it makes me worried for what the future story updates are going to look like. I don't know, I feel like there are some people who really enjoy the increase in story length, and I'm happy for you all. But I feel like with the way the story is paced now, I just don't feel as immersed in it as when compared to previous ones like Penacony. It's like, even though I can see the quality increase in writing, I can't feel it and I can't connect with it, which is truly a shame. It's not just a story that has issues too. The events have become increasingly more and more lackluster too, in both quality and quantity. Star Rail is the only game I consistently hear people say they ran out of stuff to do, and while I think it's unfair to expect the devs to always have a crap ton of content ready to go, hearing the community constantly say there is nothing to do expresses that there is an issue with the amount of content being released. In the past, people could play fun events, endgame, sim uni, golden gears, and more outside the story, but now it feels like outside Divergent Universe and endgame, there's nothing else sometimes. There's also the issue with the content themselves. Not only do you seldomly get combat events where you finally get to see your characters you painstakingly built in action, a lot of recent events have been boring and basically an anime rendition of a Roblox tycoon game. Like, we went from fun and unique events like War Dance and Ethereum Wars to Papa's Pizzeria and whatever the heck you want to call the Chimera Line event. We're even getting reruns of recent events too. Like, I started to take Star Rail less seriously in like the past 2-ish months, and you're telling me in that time we are rerunning the Seal event, like the Game Pigeon Penguin game got rerun before Ethereum Wars. It's not even like this event is a cult classic. classic or anything. Sure, it's fun for a short while, but this event was literally out right before I put the brakes on this game, and it got rerun already. They've also rerun a couple other games too, like the Candy Crush and Galactic Baseballer events too. Personally, I don't find there to be an issue when rerunning events, but the fact that we are already getting events rerun so quickly and numerously in the past months is worrying, especially with the drop in quality that they've had. I'm not saying these events are super bad or anything, but it feels super disappointing because in the past it felt like Hoyo took pride in the quality of events being released. Like the Ghost Hunt event or Ethereum Wars, they were really prioritizing making sure that these games played smoothly and felt fun to play, and nowadays it just feels like they're willing to release whatever. However, none of these issues pale in comparison to the biggest problem Star Rail has had. Power creep. Star Rail probably has some of the most intense power creep I've seen in a long while. A lot of recently released characters are becoming more and more niche and less usable in a wider fashion. The HP of enemies consistently keeps rising, and unless you are pulling for every single new meta comp, your team's damage is not increasing alongside it, and the lack of 4 stars makes it even harder to even equalize the ever-growing power gap. And these issues are exacerbated by the fact that older characters are becoming more useless in important content. Like for me, my favorite character is Acheron, and for the entire 2.x cycle, I ran E2 Acheron, Aventurine or Gallagher, Pella, and then some sort of Harmony character to support. While it wasn't her best team, it still ran and worked well and allowed me to go far in endgame content. But nowadays, trying to run this team is a struggle because in order to get my highly invested Acheron to work properly, I need characters like Jiaocho or Cypher, 2 characters that I don't really care about just to even have a chance in endgame. I'm honestly one of the lucky ones too, because people whose favorite characters are even older, like Jingyuan, are literally cooked because without getting every single specific support he needs nowadays, the man will not be able to keep up. But hey, those are older characters. What about the new ones? Sure, they have the damage, but that's if you invest both into the character and their team. Characters nowadays need hyper-specific supports and light cones in order to function at their near full or full potential. And while that's been true for most of the game's life cycle, the thing that makes this an issue now is us not getting accessible units to help keep up with the new characters. In the past, we had characters like Harmony MC that helped out with Break, Hunt March that works with follow-up, and even Gallagher to be a new sustainer, but now you literally have to pull for the characters you want and their dedicated teammates in order to even have a chance of having the team function properly. And sure, they buffed 4 older characters, but how much is that buff really worth when Hyacinth outperformed Jingliu in her own damn trial after the rework? Like, of the buffed characters, Blade and Jingliu only really saw a slight damage increase and still are unable to keep up unless you have Hyacinth, Trippy, and Sunday to help them out. Silverwolf and Kafka were the only characters that felt like the rework made them noticeably stronger, and I'd argue that we only saw the increase with Kafka because of how unique Dot is as a playstyle and how irreplaceable Kafka is for dot-based comps. And sure, Hoyo gives us free 5 stars like the new Preservation Dangheng, and while that's great and all, he exemplifies another issue, which is how hyper-specific light cones are now. Outside his signature light cone, the next best option is to either get a BP light cone or literally go with an off-path light cone that has a high base attack, since traditional Preservation light cones are all not great on him. It's not just him though, characters like Acheron or any of the Remembrance units all have heavily limited light cone options due to their kit, and I'm sure there's more characters I haven't mentioned who are cut from the same cloth. It just feels like investing in newer characters isn't just getting the character, it's getting the character and everything the character also needs to run too, whether that's teammates or light cones. And without new 4 stars or new accessible units, it feels like Hoyo is fully incentivizing you to pull for every new character that comes out. I'm not saying there shouldn't be power creep or that the meta shouldn't shift. The power level of the game needs to slowly rise in order to keep the game interesting, and also to have different characters each have their own time in the spotlight. But when the power level of the game is increasing so drastically and us players are not getting any free or just any accessible units to help to keep up, it makes it feel like Hoyo is telling us, alright, pull for these characters or else you're screwed. But guess what? In order to get these new characters to work, you also need these characters and their light cones, so good luck and thank you for the money. It's like if the devs are set on not properly balancing the game and want to continue this path of power creeping characters every couple months, then we need more accessible units and light cones to help these new comps even function for players that aren't able to get all the new optimal characters and light cones. We need new 4-star characters to release, and we need more universal characters that can flex onto different teams. We can't be in this cycle where the last new 4-star was dropped over a year ago and the new released characters are all super specific. It's just unhealthy for the game and makes it feel rough to play. Like, I want to find the love I had for this game again. It's literally the first turn-based game that I've played that I really like, but everywhere I look in this game it's just a glaring problem that makes me not want to play anymore. Maybe I'm the only one feeling this way, but with no new 4 stars in sight and all my my favorite teams that I've spent long hours building becoming more and more invalid, it just feels like Star Rail has lost the plot on what used to make it so good, and it's disappointing to see. That's about it on what I have to say. I'm really interested in hearing what you all feel about the game, so let me know your thoughts on the state of the game. Also, let me know if you enjoyed this more laid back and chill style of video. I have a lot of thoughts on games, so I'm excited to make more like this. Thank you for watching to the end. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye!